MIMI-ZABI.
Japan. All translations and voiceovers are done by AI.
Hello everyone, I'm Zabi Sensei, and this is my student, Mimi Senpai.
Nice to meet you. I'm Mimi. We live in Fukuoka Prefecture, Japan. Great to meet you all.
This channel is a special guide for everyone who loves Japan.
Please subscribe to our channel.
Japan's beautiful tourist spots have become crowded with visitors, leading to various issues. Many of these are sad misunderstandings that come from differences in culture and customs.
And most of those problems are caused by a lack of manners, right?
That's right. I think the root cause is the difference in cultural backgrounds and standards of cleanliness between Japan and other countries. It's a truly sad cultural disconnect, and the reality is that it's even causing reputational damage to foreign visitors who do respect Japan and its manners. We want to help everyone who is interested in Japan and planning a trip here to have a journey where they feel genuinely welcomed by the Japanese people.
Japan has so many unwritten rules that seem hard for foreigners to understand. I'm so happy that people from other countries are interested in Japan, and I want them to enjoy Japan's unique culture. That's why I want to help as much as I can.
Yes, I completely agree. Over-tourism has also made many of Japan's tourist spots feel exhausted, so we want to help them continue to have sustainable tourism. So, today, we're going to talk about a topic that many foreign tourists struggle with, the question of, where can I throw away my trash?
Ah, yes. This is definitely something I hear a lot from foreign travelers. They say that there are many more trash cans overseas. They have them in public squares and on the streets, but they said they're having trouble because there are so few trash cans in Japan.
That's right. It seems to be normal to find trash cans everywhere in other countries, but unfortunately, it's different in Japan. There are a few reasons for this. First, until the 1990s, there were actually a lot of trash cans in stations and parks in Japan. However, some people started bringing in their household and business trash, and the bins would quickly overflow. This attracted crows, which made things unsanitary and worsened the scenery, leading to a flood of complaints. Furthermore, influenced by terrorist attacks abroad, many local governments in Japan began intentionally reducing the number of trash cans in the 2000s. In their place, they started promoting the idea of taking your trash home with you.
I see. So having trash cans created a different set of problems, and they intentionally reduced the number of bins and changed their policy to encourage people to take their trash home. It's amazing that the majority of people follow that rule.
It really is. It's a bit of a mystery how this rule of having fewer trash cans works, isn't it? I want you to see this. My personal take is that it's due to Japan's school education. In Japanese schools, starting from elementary school, there is a 20-minute daily cleaning time where all students and teachers clean the entire school, including the classrooms, the bathrooms, and the gym. There's also a dedicated day once a year for an even more thorough school cleaning. Also, on school trips and excursions, there's a saying that teachers will continually remind you of: leave a place more beautiful than you found it. This is an important lesson in consideration, teaching you to leave a space cleaner than it was for the next person who will use it.
I know what you mean. When I was a student, we'd pick up not just our own trash, but also trash from the surrounding area before we went home. It was just a natural thing to do. Of course, some kids didn't do it, laughs, but the majority did.
It was the same for me. On field trips, my parents would give me a plastic bag for trash, and my mom would fuss at me to make sure you bring your trash home with you. This is a big factor as well. The majority of families also teach their children not to litter and to keep the streets clean. While there are regional differences, I think many Japanese people naturally acquire the habit of making the place you used beautiful yourself, at both school and home.
Yes, that's exactly how it was for me. My parents were very strict about not littering. My mom always carried a small trash bag in her purse. I do the same thing now. When I think about it, a lot of people are just used to the environment of taking their own trash home with them. So I get why there are so few trash cans and how the streets are still kept clean, but honestly, trash from sightseeing is a hassle. What do Japanese people do with their trash when they're sightseeing? Do they take everything home?
That's a great question. I'll tell you what I do as a Japanese person when I'm traveling. First, you have a few options. The first thing you should try is to take the trash back to the store where you bought the item. Generally, stores are happy to take the trash for items they sold themselves.
That's true. If you ask, "Excuse me, can I throw away my trash here?" the staff will take it for you. But what if you're in a place where you're eating on the go and you can't go back to the store? What do you do then?
That definitely happens. If I can't go back to the store where I bought the item and the area is a tourist spot, I'll ask a nearby shop. If you politely ask, "Excuse me, I can't find a trash can. Could you please take this?" they might accept it.
Right, you could try asking, but it's a bit of a gamble. Some shops might say no, so it's probably best not to expect it.
What I do, rather than gambling by asking other shops, is put the trash in a plastic bag I have with me and carry it until I find a station, commercial facility, or convenience store where a lot of people gather and trash cans are set up. I think this is the most efficient method.
What a coincidence! I do the same thing. Honestly, I feel a little bad asking a shop to take trash for an item they didn't sell. I wonder if that's a Japanese way of thinking. First, if I can't throw away my trash right away, I'll use a plastic bag as a temporary trash bag and carry it until I find a trash can. And if I never find one, I'll just take it back to my hotel and throw it away there. This is probably a uniquely Japanese custom.
Yeah, that take it back to the hotel option is a very Japanese way of thinking, isn't it? A lack of trash cans is a normal part of life in Japan, so we're not fazed by a situation where we can't throw away our trash. There are lots of convenience stores when you're walking around, so it's not like there are no trash cans at all. In the end, the best tip for enjoying your trip to Japan is just to accept from the beginning that you'll be taking your trash back to your hotel. And if you happen to find a trash can along the way, consider yourself lucky. Don't miss the chance to throw away your trash then.
It might take some getting used to at first, but it's good for first-time visitors to Japan to know about this. Also, you usually have to sort your trash when you throw it away, right? It's a bit of a hassle.
Oh, that's a good point. When you throw away trash in Japan, you generally have to sort it. The bins are separated into categories like burnable, non-burnable, plastic bottles, glass bottles, and cans. The sorting rules can be slightly different depending on the location, so always check the signs. Sometimes there are pictures showing what goes where, but sometimes there are only words. Let's take a look at some different types of trash cans.
First, here's a trash can at a supermarket in my neighborhood. This supermarket only has one. The sign only says burnable trash. Also, they made the opening small on purpose so people can't bring in their household garbage.
You're right, even some Japanese people don't follow the rules, so the stores have to get creative with their solutions. The small trash can would get full so quickly if people brought their household trash here.
Besides tourists, there's also the problem of elderly people who live alone and throw away things like raw meat or fish trays right after they buy them. However, since the majority of people follow the rules, they can get by with just this level of a solution. This is a trash can inside a convenience store. You can find these kinds of trash cans at every convenience store.
The trash cans in this picture are for plastic bottles, glass bottles and cans, and paper waste and chopsticks. What about things like food wrappers or plastic containers from bento boxes?
Good question. In that case, I'll throw it away in the bin for paper waste and chopsticks. I'd assume that this paper category is considered burnable trash, since plastics from food wrappers and bento containers are burnable in Japan. But some convenience stores have more detailed sorting. This one has a lot of bins: glass bottles, cans, plastic bottles, plastics, newspapers and magazines, and paper waste and chopsticks. In this case, I'd throw away any plastic food wrappers, cups, or bento containers in the plastics bin. Thinking about it, the sorting rules are really complicated, huh?
You're right. Even for Japanese people, some are really strict about sorting, while others are more general. At the very least, it's better to put your trash in a bin than to not.
I know, right? Honestly, convenience store trash cans are put there for customers who buy something at that store. So technically, you're not supposed to throw away trash from other stores. That's why whenever I throw away trash from another store, I make it a point to buy something from that convenience store, like gum, a snack, or a drink.
I see. You're buying something as a way of saying thanks. The convenience store staff are basically doing you a favor by accepting your trash. So it probably feels a lot better for them if you buy something instead of just leaving your trash.
Just think of it as a small tip for throwing away your trash. I hope tourists do the same thing too. Convenience stores are the easiest places to throw away trash, after all.
But unfortunately, not every convenience store in Japan has a trash can, right?
That's true. The bigger the city, the more likely you are to find convenience stores without trash cans. The reason is that with more people, there's more trash. The number of people throwing away their trash exceeds the convenience store's capacity to handle it.
Whenever I go into a convenience store in a big city, the first thing I do is look for a trash can or a bathroom. The places where people don't use the trash cans properly are often the same places where the bathrooms are closed due to improper use.
Unfortunately, that's the reality. Next, here's a trash can inside a big shopping mall.
It's separated into plastic bottles, glass bottles and cans, and burnable trash. In this case, I can throw away both paper and plastic wrappers in the burnable trash bin, right?
That's right. The symbol for burnable trash is a crumpled piece of paper. So it means you can put anything that can be burned in there. Next, here's a trash can in a shopping mall's food court. It's for trash from eating, so it's separated into two categories: burnable trash and plastics.
In this case, it's the same as the convenience store example from before. You have to separate plastic containers and straws, right?
Exactly. And another thing that's specific to eating areas is the special bin on the top right for ice and leftover drinks. It's not hygienic to throw away containers with liquid still in them, so be sure to pour out the contents first.
Speaking of which, I went to the Fukuoka International Airport to see a friend off the other day, and they had a bin just for leftover drinks.
Really? Since it's an international airport, I bet they have signs in languages other than Japanese, which makes it easier to understand. There aren't a lot of these bins for leftover drinks, but when you do find one, make sure to pour out the liquid before throwing away the container.
When I'm walking around and get thirsty, I'll often buy a drink from a vending machine, but sometimes I see people throwing burnable trash into the bins next to them.
Yeah, those bins are basically only for glass bottles and cans. But some Japanese people even throw other trash in there. When that happens, other people see it and think it's okay, so they throw their trash there too. I bet foreign visitors get confused by this, but just remember that the bins next to vending machines are only for cans and bottles.
The sorting rules and signs are different depending on the location. I wish they would just make them all the same.
I know, right? It's a problem if you understand Japanese, but it must be difficult for foreigners to figure out. Even Japanese people sometimes don't know which bin to use. If you're not sure, it's okay to check what's already in the bin before you throw something away. As long as you don't throw a bottle into a burnable trash can, it's fine to be general. It's much, much better than just littering. For example, at stations, you might find special bins just for magazines and newspapers. This is because many people read them on the train and they're sold at station kiosks. But at a quick glance, the symbol might look like a regular burnable trash can, so it's hard to tell if you can't read Japanese.
Oh, I just remembered something. I've actually mistaken a recycling bin for a trash can.
Oh, that's a good point. At supermarkets and shopping malls, you'll often see recycling bins that look a lot like trash cans. This can also be difficult to figure out if you can't read Japanese. A recycling bin is a place where you're supposed to bring plastic bottles, glass bottles, cans, and food trays that you've washed and dried at home. These items are recycled, so it's a violation of the rules to put dirty, unwashed trash in them. But if you look closely, you'll be able to tell the difference. Everything in them is washed and the labels are peeled off. If you look inside, you'll see it's not a regular trash can, so just remember that recycling boxes exist.
I actually seen Japanese people mistakenly throw trash in recycling bins. Laughs. I moved it for them. Also, there are special bins for umbrella bags, right?
Ah, yes. I almost forgot about that. When it rains in Japan, supermarkets and other commercial facilities often have a stand with plastic bags for umbrellas at the entrance. This was put in place to prevent people from dripping water and making the floor slippery, which caused frequent falls. It's a common practice in Japan. When you enter the building, you put your umbrella in a long plastic bag. When you leave, you take it out and throw the plastic bag into the designated bin underneath the stand.
But people sometimes mistake it for a regular trash can. This is also something that's difficult to understand for someone seeing it for the first time, so it's a good thing to remember. It might rain when you're sightseeing. By the way, what happens if you litter?
That's a good question. First, you should know that littering is illegal in Japan. However, you're generally not going to get arrested for it. The possibility is extremely low unless someone reports you.
So you won't get into any trouble if you litter.
That's right. But please don't think, oh, then it's fine to litter. Japanese people are watching you. If you litter, the majority of Japanese people will look at you with contempt. You might be scorned and sometimes even get a warning.
On the other hand, if they see a tourist taking their trash with them, they'll think, this person respects Japan and be friendly to you. It's true that a lot of Japanese people dislike people who don't follow the rules, regardless of their nationality.
That's definitely true. I feel like if problems like littering increase, stricter rules will be introduced in some areas, like tourist bans or fines.
I really hope that we can all cooperate so that that doesn't happen.
Oh, I saw something on social media recently. A foreigner said, "I studied Japan's rules for my trip, but I'm confused because I saw a lot of Japanese people not following the rules. What's the real truth?" What do you think about that?
That's a heartbreaking thing to hear. To be honest, not every Japanese person follows the rules. It depends on the location, but in places with a lot of different people and a lower sense of public safety, like central Tokyo or Osaka, for example, Shibuya, Shinjuku, or Namba, you'll find more people who don't follow the rules. Frankly, it's often related to differences in education levels. So, you can assume that the closer you are to an entertainment district in any city, the more people you'll find who don't follow the rules. However, it's undeniable that the majority of Japanese people do follow the rules.
You're right. Location and public safety are definitely related. When I go to Tokyo or Osaka, I stay away from the entertainment and red light districts because the streets are dirty and there are a lot of people with bad behavior. So if a tourist only visits those noisy urban areas, it's not surprising that they'd be shocked by how many people don't follow the rules.
It's also possible that the people they saw were tourists from other parts of Asia. Westerners especially might have trouble telling the difference between Asian nationalities, so it's possible they simply mistook them and felt like there were a lot more rule breakers than there actually were.
It feels like there's no way to stop littering in entertainment districts, and that's just the reality. What about other local tourist spots in Japan? What's the situation like there?
That's a very important point. In those local places, it's especially important to be careful about littering. In recent years, thanks to social media, even local spots have become tourist destinations. These places are closely connected to the daily lives of the residents and are maintained by their constant volunteer efforts. That's why we especially want you to follow the rules there. In local areas, unlike in big cities, life is often based on the kindness and consideration of the local people. A foreign visitor's breach of manners will stand out significantly, and the negative impact is felt directly, which can cause a lot of resentment.
That's so true. Even if it were a Japanese person, they'd be looked down on and scorned if they didn't follow the rules. But my impression is that Japanese people are very patient and won't get angry unless it's a very serious situation. That's probably why the frustration toward tourists has been building up.
That's right. The question I want to ask everyone is this: do you want to be welcomed by the majority of Japanese people, or do you want to be scorned? We want you to act with that in mind. The majority of Japanese people will be very friendly and welcoming toward foreign tourists who visit with respect for Japan. And they'll want those people to come back and visit again and again. However, if they see foreign tourists who don't show an understanding of Japanese manners, the reality is that the majority of Japanese people living in local areas could start to reject foreigners as a whole. This is a phenomenon that is happening right now on Japanese social media.
I see that a lot too. It's sad to see, and it makes me angry, like they're disrespecting Japan. In the end, it's understandable that someone would be confused after seeing a lot of people not following the rules. But they just have to choose. Do they want to copy that minority and become a rude tourist scorned by the majority of Japanese people? Or do they want to be a good tourist who follows the rules they've learned and is welcomed by the majority of Japanese people? If you love Japan and you respect Japanese culture, or if you want to be able to visit Japan without any issues in the future, I really don't recommend copying the people who break the rules.
I agree. If you've taken the time to study, we want you to put that into practice. We also want you to understand that the residents of these local areas that have become tourist spots are exhausted. Before the sudden increase in foreign tourists, the Japanese people who follow the rules could cover for the Japanese people who didn't follow the rules. But now, it's beyond their capacity.
That's why we need the cooperation of everyone who is planning to visit Japan.
Some people might say, well, the government should just install more trash cans.
You're right, and that would be the best solution if it were that simple. But installing and maintaining them costs a lot, especially for local governments. In big cities, tourism is expected to continue, so they're starting to introduce IoT trash cans called Smago. However, for local areas that might have become tourist spots due to a temporary social media trend, they can't even predict how long the tourism will last. It takes time and money for the government to use tax money to implement such measures, so it's not a problem that can be solved right away. The important thing is that this situation won't be resolved anytime soon.
So until a groundbreaking solution is introduced, foreign tourists' understanding and cooperation are a must.
Until then, please cooperate with our Take Your Trash Home culture. The clean streets of Japan are something that the Japanese people have cultivated with hard work over several decades. Please enjoy your trip to Japan while helping us protect them.
And please be sure to introduce this channel to any of your friends who are planning a trip to Japan.
Let's create sustainable Japanese tourism together.
Please subscribe to our channel.